my beard.
Look at how white you are.
I know, right?
You're washed out like an LGTV.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
What's up, dudes?
You know, nothing.
I guess it better. There we go.
There we go.
Did you talk? Sometimes
Yeah,
it's just my internet. I don't know when we actually come into the show, so I kind of sit here dumbfounded for a second. It's got to catch up.
Not
So
any
what
different than in real life.
He sits there dumb for a second. It happens.
Not any different than real
It's
life.
got to take a minute. It's got to take a minute.
I'm just
Hey,
a little
It's processing.
So, guys, listen. I want to go ahead and I'm just going to jump right into it, man. I'm glad to see you. I'm happy that we're here. We got a lot of shit to talk about, so let's just get after it. But first of all, I want to welcome everybody to One Fall WrestleCast. We are celebrating our 50th episode today. We're kind of pumped about it, So this is
49 and a half.
Oh, it is
It's 48.
It's 48, but it should be 50 because
What
of
kind of
Derek.
spill are you? This is bullshit.
Oh.
Yeah. You see what I
this
did
is
there?
48 with Derek
See what I-
involved?
So whose fault?
without me?
So, anyways, listen, but for real, first off, I want to start off by saying congratulations to one Tommaso Ciampa for winning the NXT World Championship on Tuesday night on the NXT 2.0 reboot. I don't know if that's a stretch to keep some of us, the hardcore NXT fans, invested, but if that's the play, kudos to them because they're going to keep me watching.
They got me, buddy.
There is nobody that deserved that spot more than that man right there. And to see him holding Goldie once again was absolutely phenomenal. So congratulations to not only Tommaso Ciampa, but NXT for actually doing something right.
Doing the right thing. Way to do
Crazy.
The right
I love it.
I mean, look, you can't not start out by just saying thanks for doing the right thing. And that's what they did. Because the rest of this episode, we're going to talk about people that did the wrong thing. So let's start out with people doing the right thing, right?
Right.
I mean, Derek, they did do the right thing there, fellas. But how many names did you recognize out of the back coming out on NXT 2.0? Not a lot of regulars coming out there, and they got to have something to go for. They got to go for the gold. Off veteran there. I mean, they're going to just put it on Brock Breaker, the first episode.
It's Braun Breaker.
Okay. Braun Breaker, yeah.
But listen, so let's talk about Braun Breaker, right? So clearly Rick Steiner's son. And up until, from what I gather, about an hour before NXT 2.0 hit the airwaves, he was going to be known as Rex Steiner, which I think was probably the right decision to go with the Rex Steiner namesake. But for whatever reason, I'm sure just being in WWE land, they decided to go with Braun Breaker with 2 Ks, not just one. And Derek and I were kind of talking about this, Tom, one night. Man, he looked real good. And he had a solid little in-ring debut against LA Knight, and very, very believable, and I'm into it, right? But do you feel a little bit more critical since they kind of just dropped the ball with the name?
Yeah, so yes. Here's my thought on what they're trying to do here and what I think is going to happen. They're big fans of letting and I think this goes back to FTW or FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. And if you remember, Dave Batista was the Leviathan back in Florida Championship Wrestling. And so I think their intent is to make this very, very much developmental and to give people developmental names. Let them grow a character, let them figure out their in-ring stuff, and then let the on-air people, figure out who they will be and who they will become And then he's not going to be Braun Breaker on the main roster. He's not. I think that Rex Steiner, they decided, was too good of a name for NXT. Like, no. We're going to give this guy a new haircut, and he's going to come out as Rex Steiner, and he's going to be something else. Once he's figured out who he is, he's got a finisher. I don't expect him to be. He's one of those guys. Both him, and the Beverly brothers.
Von Wagner. Who Vince is apparently very, very high on.
Right. Both of those guys, that's not going to be their names going on the main roster, nor will they be in NXT very long. Those guys are in NXT to figure out a finisher and to learn how to talk from Shawn Michaels and whomever else. They're going to pull them up and they're going to change their names. Those guys will never be NXT champion. Those guys aren't going to be tag team champions, anything like that. Those guys are there to learn and polish because they're legacy wrestlers, but they're not like indie darlings.
So I really like where your head's at, right? Like I kind of thought the same thing where, like they're not going to be there. They're there for a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
Just to kind of figure themselves out, especially if, your Vince is clearly high on both of them, right? Yeah. And there's been reports that he sees a lot of like 1998 edge in Von Wagner, which I mean, I could kind of see, right? But like,
he's a big boy.
Yeah, he is a big boy. But Derek, I see you rolling your eyes up there, right? And that's okay. I'm great with that because I kind of already know what your thought process is on it. And I kind of agree with you too. But maybe Tom's on to something because we talk about this being NXT 2.0. Maybe we need to change the way of our thought process on how we view some of these talents. Maybe they're not going to be in the rainbow colored brand for long. But so what you got for me?
I mean, maybe, and it is NXT 2.0. But to be honest with you, why are you going to try and get these guys over if you're only going to be down there for a cup of coffee? Especially
that's not
that.
I don't think
that enhanced my point even more. That I was thinking is you're going to change their names for how long? 2-3 months? That's pointless. And then pull them up, and then going to be Rex Steiner again. That doesn't even make any sense. If you're only going to be down there for a short amount of time, why are you going to change their names? They're going to try to halfway get over on this name, and then it's just going to be like the Viking Raiders. Oh, you can't be the War Raiders anymore, so now you're the Viking Raiders. So there has to be this weird transitional period of who are they and what kind of gimmick do we change the gimmick? Can we kind of stay with it? They came out to war still, and it just adds some confusion to the crowd. They can't get behind it. I mean, they can, obviously, but you don't know what to cheer for. It's stupid to change your marketing in the middle of a character push like that.
I disagree. Brand new people because I don't think. So here's the thing. I don't think they're going to get a push. I think they're going to get time.
You just said they were, bud.
No. That's not
what I said. I said they're going to get time. They're there to polish their finishing maneuvers. They're there to. They're not going to take pins necessarily, but they're not going to win anything. They're not going to be. Neither of those guys are going to beat Tommaso Ciampa. They're going to be long enough to build a character to do that. They'll be brought into the main roster, and they'll be not pushed necessarily, but they'll be given an opportunity. And I think that's what WWE kind of got away from, right? Because for the longest time, the opportunity was NXT, right? You're given an opportunity in NXT. And then you get to the main roster and, I was the NXT tag team champion. I was the North American champion. I was yada, yada, yada. Like, yeah, nobody gives a crap about that. I don't care. Vince McMahon doesn't care. He doesn't watch NXT. And so now...
Although he did review the script this week.
Yes, but he wasn't there. And he's not going to be there. He's not going. Let's be real about this. Vince is not going. He's not going to go and be in charge. I don't think Bruce is going to go either. I think that they're going to call Sean, and Sean's going to say, yeah, I got this, and this, and they're going to say, all right, make sure this guy gets over, this guy goes over, insert this guy, yada, 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 whatever. And then, that'll be it. That'll be the long and short of it. And then that's what's going to go. Hunter will be back at some point. I hope Triple H gets better. He's on recovery right now, but apparently he's not coming back for a little while, a couple weeks.
Hey, speaking of, did you happen to catch on SmackDown, Pat McAfee had said something about Cerebral, and he was like, and then T's and P's to the Cerebral one. And then like I heard him kind of cut off a little bit and he's like, oh yeah, my bad. Like,
yeah.
So I'm assuming production got in his ear and was like, yeah, we don't do that, bud.
Shut up. Don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't do that. So, but Derek, I mean, you do raise a couple valid points, right? Like, why would you go through the process of putting all this together and then just to bring them up to the main roster, change everything that we've come to know and love about them? Well, here's my argument. Here's my argument to your thought process, right? Like, everything that we know and love about Karrion Kross has been destroyed. Everything that we
have
we
we not learned anything from this
about Ricochet? And so, maybe this is the way, right? Like, maybe Tom's really on to something here.
And well, I don't think that I'm on to something, because I'm not a big fan of like what happened with Karrion Kross. I'm not a fan of what happened with Ricochet, but I do think, like, my thought process is go back to Dave Bautista. He was
right, and that's what I'm kind of touching on. It's like that thinking is right in line with where I think we're at.
Well, I don't think you go from playing Saturday mornings as Isaac Yankem to Kane on Monday evenings. It happens all that often. So why are you – if you're going to start them off with an Isaac Yankem, are you serious? It's just a waste of time.
FTW, that's what it was. And that's what it was for decades and decades, too, for, like, guys that came up through the WWE system. Like, it's not just Dave Bautista. It's not just Isaac Yankem. It's not just, like, Eminem, Morrison, and was it?
Morrison? No,
Miz.
It wasn't Morrison.
No, it wasn't Miz. It was John Morrison, and
yeah, but he was Johnny Nitro at the time.
No, because he was.
It was Joey Mercury, Johnny Nitro, and
right.
Melina.
You're right. It was Joey Mercury. You're right. That's right. And they were Eminem. Nice. And but yeah, I mean, he didn't have the same name either. When he came up, he was they pushed him for a long time.
Valid points, my friend.
John Cena wasn't really in it. Wasn't really there very long. Big E was in it in FCW, and he was Big E Langston, not Big E, like he was Big E, Bigge, i.e. Langston, Big E Langston, and same thing. And he was just a weightlifter, right?
Yep.
But it's a matter of looking back at what's still popular. So what's worked for WWE is not what works for AEW or other. It's not. They do the homegrown ex-football players, ex-weightlifters, like real wrestlers, like Olympic, like Kurt Angle guys, Brock Lesnar, stuff like that. It's not. Braun Strowman did a similar thing in NXT. He's probably one of the only guys who really got that like FCW thing in NXT. He did
I mean, Bray Wyatt too, man.
Bray too. Yeah. You're right.
Hey, and speaking of, real quick, man, Jiminy Christmas. Like, are they trying to make Finn Balor the Demon, the new Bray Wyatt, like the Fiend thing? Because I really feel like that's what they're trying to do.
They're gonna squash him.
They're fucking this up with the Fiend. With the Demon.
They're gonna squash him. Well, I think they're gonna squash him, and they're gonna squash him once, and that's gonna be the long and short of it. And then
but like the backstage vignette, and then like the terrible animation, like him morphing into the Demon. Like, come on, man, we don't need that. Don't need that. We
make sure instead of saying the, you say duh, because we've never heard you say the before, Finn.
Yeah, right.
Fergie.
So, but listen, though, I'll tell you what, and all bullshit aside with NXT 2.0. All right, and I think we can all agree on this one. They have my attention.
Sure. I mean, I'm interested to see. I would like to see new stars, right? Like, I want to see somebody become a star. I want to see Rocky Maivia go from a feud with Ken Shamrock to the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. I want to see that, right?
Yeah.
We got to watch it live. We watched it happen. We watched Stone Cold beat the hell out of it, crush Jake the Snake Roberts and say, you want to talk about John 3:16? Well, Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. And I want more of that, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm into it.
If I can get more of that, then yes, this is welcome. However, if I get more of this flatline wet fart bullcrap, then I'll hate it. So here I am.
You have our attention.
And we'll call it flatline wet fart bullcrap.
I mean, we'll see. Give it a couple weeks. I'm not sold yet. I mean, there was lots of new faces. It's definitely something to check out, but I'm not,
First episode didn't suck.
No, it wasn't terrible. And I think that
it didn't suck.
They're looking more at the production value of making this a viable television show while making it a developmental area.
Why wasn't it already a viable television show?
It was, but the problem decent.
It wasn't a Vince and Bruce production.
There you go.
So, everybody was under 300 pounds. So
hey. So I really something kind of cool came across today, and a lot of mixed feelings about this. AEW released a memo today saying that they're going to have a relationship to honor the world-renowned wrestler Owen Hart's legacy. They're going to have an Owen Hart Cup tournament thing. They've teamed up with the Owen Hart Foundation. It's really cool, man. It's really cool, and I'm super stoked that Owen Hart is going to be memorialized in the wrestling world, right? And
finally,
and it's weird to me all at the same point in time that it's AEW, right? But there's just such a sour relationship between Owen's wife and WWE that it's just we're never going to see that. We're never going to see him take his rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame.
No. Just
like we never got to see him take his rightful place as the WWF champion.
No, we
didn't. So this is going to be really, really cool. And the one thing, the one rhetoric that continues to be across the internet is how great it is that AEW just continues to find ways to honor great human beings that have committed their lives to this business and the fans. And we saw it with Brody Lee, and we're seeing it with Owen, and it's this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's definitely cool. All I could think of when I saw this is oh, that's awesome. We also might get to play as Owen Hart in the AEW video game.
Dude, that would be wild.
Right? How fantastic would that be? I mean, it's been, man, I feel like the last video game he was in was Raw is War. Am I wrong?
Derek, that would be a you question, pal.
I couldn't tell you that on that one, but that would be insanity.
I'm certain because he died in the 90s, and then the next video game was WrestleMania 2000. So, yeah, that's the last time we get to play as Owen Hart in a video game. So it's been 24 years. No, yeah, 25. 25. That game came out in 1996. 25 years.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
Unless you use the creative wrestler in WWE 2K20.
Well, creative wrestlers aside, but I mean, just to have something. I think it's important, and I think the legacy of Owen, regardless of how anybody feels about Owen's widow, where it's gone, I feel like didn't do service to him. I understand her not willing to work with WWE at the time and ever. I mean, clearly, they were responsible. It happened.
Yeah.
She was mad. She still is.
And I'm only coming from a dark side of the ring aspect of it, but if I was in her position, I feel like she explained her position well, and it's understandable why she's upset. She felt like they didn't take due care. And
I ordered the pay-per-view, bro.
I was watching the pay-per-view.
I was not, but I have seen the clip.
You want to talk about something that sticks with you for the rest of your life? and just changes you as a human it's one of those things where like, what the hell just happened? What? And we were children like at the time. Like we're not.
Yeah, we were in middle school.
We were in middle school. Like we were children when this happened, and just to watch it is like it was gut wrenching. And I
had
remember
a house full of people.
it was me and my dad, and I can't remember if Adam was there or not. Adam was often there, but it was me and my dad watching it, and we went, what happened? And then you had no idea because the camera cut away before he hit the turnbuckle, but I mean that killed him instantly. And I think we found out later that night that he had passed.
Yeah.
I mean he was dead when they pulled him out of there, but we found out later that night that he had gone. And man, because it was St. Valentine's Day Massacre, right?
No, it was Unforgiven, I believe. No, actually, it was called Over the Edge, is what it was called.
Over the Edge, that's right. Yeah, you're
right. So I mean, all that piece aside, right? Like, it's terrible, and the decision to continue to run the pay-per-view, I think, is what has really come into question the most across the years, right? So the fact that there's a lot of positivity in the wrestling world surrounding Owen Hart and his name right now, I think is a huge win for Owen Hart, his legacy, and most importantly, fans of Owen Hart. So it's pretty good stuff. So
Owen was amazing.
Oh, he was incredible.
Like it's hard to. Owen was almost every bit as good as his brother, but like a better heel.
Yes,
truth be told.
Yes, that WrestleMania 10 match that opened the show is still my number one favorite wrestling match to watch. I can never get tired of watching it, and a lot of times I watch WrestleMania 10 just for that match. So,
and one of my favorite things about Owen and Brett is that Owen's a lefty, I think. Am I correct in that?
I'm not sure on that one.
So whatever it was that like Brett put the sharpshooter in like right-handed, and Owen did it left-handed, or something like that. It was like the other way around. And
that's cool.
It was one of those things where it was like the same thing, the same smoothness. Clearly, they had worked on it together, and yeah, it was just we'll never get that again, right?
No.
That's it. That was it. That was the moment, and it was snuffed out in front of our eyes. And yeah, I mean, there has been other brother greats. The Usos come to mind, but at the same time, like, are they Brett and Owen?
No, nobody really is, pal.
Right.
Hey, so Derek, you brought up a little something there. You talk about the dark side of the ring perspective.
Sure. Great transition.
Let's talk about dark side of the ring, gentlemen, shall we?
Okay. Glad I poured a new beer for that.
So we all know, we've all seen the news, we've all seen the headlines.
We've all watched the episode.
We've all watched the episode. Dark Side of the Ring, the plane ride from hell. We had all heard stories and tales of the plane ride from hell, growing up and through the thing, because it's become this like wrestling folklore, right?
I wouldn't say growing up, but if you're hardcore enough to actually be listening to this, you know about the plane ride from hell.
Hell yeah, for sure. That's fantastic. And the thing is, man, like the plane ride from hell, like it's folklore, right? Like it's the stuff that the wrestlers talk about. You've got all these different perspectives of what happened on this plane ride, and we got to see a little bit of that this week on Dark Side of the Ring. Specifically, we heard about the Mr. Perfect and Brock Lesnar fight that almost jarred the door open, and then we've got the drinking and just the craziness that ensued on this flight. But one of the things that like you don't really hear too much of is some of the sexual assault allegations, right? Like, Tom, I know you've got a thing that you want to talk about as far as this, and you're absolutely correct on that standpoint. But I know I come in here every week and I flick the Rick just to get fucking Tom a little fired up and off edge. And, but man, a guy that a lot of us have looked up to as wrestling fans, was really kind of cast in a really, really disappointing light on Thursday night. And
disappointing is the right word.
That's fantastic.
So, okay, where do I start? So, Ric Flair to me is one of the greatest ever to do it ever. I've met the man several times, and he's never been any less than kind to me. He remembered me the second time that I met him. It was only like 6 months apart. But we're talking about one of the greatest to ever do it, right? One of the greatest to ever step in the ring. One of the greatest character pieces. One of the greatest characters ever. Obviously, I'd heard from about the plane ride from hell, right? Heard about it. The fact that you hear about, oh yeah, Ric Flair walked down, opened his robe, and did the whirly bird thing with his weenie, and popped the boys. That's part of it, right? That's part of the whole mystique. No, everybody, whenever that was laid out in the past, Rick was given a pass in a way where his pass was basically, well, that was Ric Flair, and that's what happens with Rick, and he does that thing, it pops the boys, and that's all it was. Now, what happens on the dark side of the ring is that you find out that, at least from the perspective of this flight attendant, that he corners a huge plane, and does that to her and has her touch it.
Yeah.
That's, I feel like that's the line there that's like, wait, what? And everybody that's come out since then has said, whoa, that's not a Ric Flair thing. Rick never had to make anybody touch it. Like, it was that was not a thing.
Right. But, at the same point in time, pal, like, I think the thing that we're forgetting here is that there was a lawsuit that was filed about this that WWE settled out of court.
There was. And Scott Hall was also involved in that. Because he licked that same woman. Good Lord. This poor woman, right? I mean, you couldn't watch this and not help but feel terrible for her. And that was the long and short for me, was like, I felt terrible for this. I wouldn't want to be there as a grown man over 200 pounds with a grizzled beard, and I wouldn't want to be there. Current version of me doesn't want to be on this plane.
Right.
Yeah. Let alone whatever she was. This lady was probably what, late 20s, early 30s, maybe.
Like, guaranteed. If you have a job like that,
yeah,
guaranteed late 20s, early 30s.
Right. I mean, you're not like, I don't, you don't want to be late 20s, early 30s woman, 120 pounds ish. No, you don't. You just don't. And this is not, I'm not trying to be sexist here, but like, you're talking about a man. Ric Flair's 245 pounds this point in time. He's 50 years old, but he's in good shape. I mean, these are intimidatingly huge humans on purpose, right? I mean, we talked about earlier, Mr. Perfect and Brock Lesnar, who are both like 6'4", whatever, 230, 240, 250, just slamming into things. Like, we're talking about the epitome of like peak male performance, right?
Exactly.
By peak male performance, I mean enhanced male performance. How is anybody? Look, how am I? Meek male. Like, I am my muscle. My weight is not enhanced male performance. My weight is pizza. Let alone it's not a thing that's conducive to that. So no, man, it's real disappointing, and that I think you used the right word. I mean, it's alleged clearly. I mean, that's the first time I'd heard that particular part, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, Ric Flair's walking up and down, swinging it. Like, that's not even the first time you hear that story about Ric Flair, right? He just does that in the locker room to pop the boys.
Here's the thing, too, right? Like, so WWE, to you guys on the network, the show that me and Gene started, the little cartoon show, Story Time.
Yeah.
Ric Flair actually had a story time about him being on an airplane, doing the helicopter in only his robe to the female flight attendants. It has since been removed from Peacock as of this morning.
I mean, it was on Peacock. They let that go on Peacock.
It was on the network, and then it was removed from Peacock this morning.
But it was on that made it onto Peacock.
It did. It made it on.
I watched it. Yep, I watched it on at least WWE Network.
I saw it on WWE Network. I just can't believe it made it onto Peacock because that was like, holy crap.
Yeah. So, but we'll get into the fallout here, Derek, Bud. Dark Side of the Ring, man. Whew. Ric Flair. You know, I know that you're not as
I can't say that I'm a diehard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's something though that I think we need to just own up to and say that we all saw. We all recognized that he did have bad behavior throughout the years, as everybody did. I mean, this was the boys being the boys is how it was looked at the time, and unfortunately, that looking back on that, we were wrong in that aspect. I would never want to say, for instance, put my daughter through that kind of situation. That's just disgusting and sad, you know?
Yeah.
I feel terrible for the stewardesses that had to come forward, and here's the thing though is apparently there was a lawsuit and they got settled out of court, of course. So in that, WWE did admit some fault. With that being said,
the thing about the lawsuit, I feel like really focused on Scott Hall, right? At least from my perspective. From my perspective, really where the lawsuit settled was because Scott Hall licking her, that's not new. None of that was new information. That was a thing. And Scott Hall said, I don't remember any of it.
Well, no, he's not going to admit to that.
Well, dude, Scott Hall doesn't remember.
No, he probably really doesn't remember it. But
he does not remember. He doesn't remember 1998 through 2006.
Yeah,
probably.
Well,
that's fair. I mean, that's fair. But you know, so it's interesting because, like, I think that we all feel really, really just pretty shitty about the whole thing, right?
I mean, it's not. Look, this is not a thing. Like, we all have daughters, right? Like, this is not a thing. Like, what if that's my wife? What if that's my daughter? What's like that's unbelievable.
And that's exactly the point that I was trying to get through there. Is that unacceptable? This is not anything that I could ever imagine in my actual life. And if it were to happen, it would be, devastating to myself and my family and my poor daughter, especially, wife, whomever. And yeah, I feel terrible for ever supporting.
It's not about supporting Ric Flair, pal. Like it's not like
it's not so much that, but I let the episode go by me and knew what was going on and just. I guess I didn't understand the severity. It got very graphic in the Dark Side of the Ring episode. That's what's new about this whole story. It seems is it got very graphic and very involved about what actually happened, which was not, I would say, expressly relegated previously.
You're right in a way. There's a few things about the episode particularly that I want to point out because it was very much cut to be dramatic, right? It's very much cut in the way of like Road Rules, a real world, right? And there were. I feel like I've heard a lot of stories about things, and a lot of there's a lot more stories surrounding, right, the plane ride from hell. A ton more,
Yeah.
that were glossed over or just straight up not mentioned. They talked to Rob Van Dam. They talked to Justin Credible. They talked to
Terry Runnels.
They talked to Jim Ross, and
The flight attendant Heidi.
The flight attendant. That was it, right? Did we talk
Tommy
to anybody
Dreamer.
else?
Was it?
Tommy Dreamer, who also buried himself. We'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, I'm getting to him too. Don't worry.
I didn't know that Tommy Dreamer or Justin Credible were on that flight, and because nothing happened to them, they were just standbys.
X-Pac. Michael Hayes.
I knew.
I'm sorry.
No. They didn't talk to those people, but I knew they were on the flight because X-Pac cut off. But look, that's funny. I don't care who you are.
Nah, that's
hilarious.
X-Pac cutting off Michael Hayes' stupid ass ponytail is fine.
Like, fuck Michael Hayes.
If that's the long and short of it, like they tried to make that. They
lost my ponytail.
They tried to make that dramatic, like, oh, Michael was so mad. Whatever, fuck it. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Michael Hayes and his ponytail are irrelevant, and X-Pac. That none of that deserves anybody to be mad at anybody about at all. But
JBL already knocked him out, so it didn't matter,
and he deserved it.
Yeah,
JBL
he punched JBL in the head.
He did, and not JBL just smacked the crap out of him. But JBL is a huge human with a big hand. He just went whack, and then Michael.
He just waltered the side of his head,
and he went to sleep.
Bap. Yeah.
Nighty night.
Good night.
Good night. And they cut off his ponytail because you know what? Michael Hayes is a dick. He deserved it. JBL probably deserved being punched in the face. I don't care.
I think he was sleeping.
He was, but he probably still deserved it. So I don't care either. The problematic parts clearly were upheld. However, I feel like Dustin Runnels particularly got kind of a pass and almost got a redemption story.
A little bit, yeah.
Which I had never heard before. And honestly, I'd heard worse about Dustin Runnels, about him walking around without pants on back there, with his not so quite Space Mountain out. And I feel like that may have been edited out. This to me feels like well, we gotta save these AEW guys, especially Dustin, and just kind of make him.
Wow, did you really just go there with that?
They gave him a redemption story. Have you ever heard the Dustin redemption story?
Redemption story.
He was the one.
He was the hero.
He was the hero. He saved her from Ric Flair. Have you ever heard that story before?
I have not.
I have not either. Look, I'm not saying that didn't happen. Maybe it did. I don't know that Dustin remembers that happened. But she called him. I think it was Gold. Like the whole surrounding of it, that portion of it particularly.
Well, I would trust Jim Ross no matter what, 100%.
Jim Ross didn't say shit about. Jim Ross didn't say shit about it. That was a separate hey, let's make Dustin Runnels look good. I think it was Gold Dust. I think Gold Dust saved me. Look, I'm sure somebody pulled Ric Flair out, said, leave her alone, drunk man with your dick out, hanging out by the galley. Let's get the fuck out of here because this is not right. Somebody had the wherewithal to pull Ric Flair out of there.
Lots of crazy shit on the plane ride from hell, right? We've all heard these crazy stories. Okay. But I can't get away from the fact that, Tom, you said it yourself, this is kind of new news, right? A new story. Flair was mentioned in that lawsuit. Sure. And the whole deal, they settled out of court, and shit happened to Dustin, and Mr. Perfect got fired. Sure and Scott Hall got fired.
Sure did.
But Ric Flair gets a pass, and the best that we can get from JR is he's a made man, right? Which is actually facts. And I've seen a lot of shit today online, bashing JR for his explanation of the thing. But I think that JR was as honest with us as he possibly could have been, and you can see it on his face, and he's got no problems telling you what's wrong with the wrestling business when there's things wrong with the wrestling business. And I think that's why we as fans still have so much respect for good old JR.
Absolutely.
Because he does keep us, he knows we're not stupid, right? He knows that.
Well, he hopes we're not stupid.
He hopes no. I have zero problem. Go on, Walt.
I mean, but there's all kinds of just crazy, stupid shit that happens on this plane ride, right? And then this stuff with Ric Flair comes out, man, and it just, in the pit of my stomach, it just makes me angry. It really just makes me angry because, there's things that people talk about, and it's like, hey, man, never meet your heroes, never do this, never do that. And then shit like this comes out, right? And it's somebody that I have a lot of respect for as a wrestling fan. I've never met the man personally, and I'm sure he's a fantastic human being. He seems like he's absolutely incredible to the fans, but he's lived the gimmick his entire life, right? And you're sitting here and you're expecting me to turn a blind eye to this, and I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not. And it doesn't mean that like I'm gonna just continue to or just stop supporting Ric Flair and the things that he does. The man has given me a lifetime of memories to enjoy and look back on. This sucks. Like, this really, really just sucks, right? And that woman went to work, man, and then she comes home with this, and the thing that I said was, we all knew that the lawsuit existed. We talked about this in our chat. We all knew the lawsuit existed. And I was the one that said, this is not going to be good for Ric Flair. And, Tom, you were the one, you were like, hey man, but we know about this. We do know about it, but it's different whenever it's coming from the point of view of the alleged victim. Right. Yeah. And this woman came on here and she told her story, and it was compelling, and I was invested in what she had to say and things like that.
We had never heard it from her point of view.
Yeah, we'd never heard it from her point of view. Exactly. And like, I'm conflicted today because we know so much about Ric Flair's career and his life outside of the ring, and like the way that he is and stuff like that. And we know a lot about this guy, right? And to have this just kind of come out of nowhere, this crazy that he forced himself on someone.
At least forced her to touch it. I mean, I think that's I really think that's the crux of all of this, where it's like, and even everybody that reacted to it, whether it's Tommy Dreamer or Jim Cornette or whoever, it's like, that's not a thing Ric Flair would have done. However, they drank 3 carts of booze before this even happened. So,
I mean, still, man, booze is no
it's no excuse.
If this fucking happened, guys, no. Like,
what I'm saying?
There's no chance that this gets exonerated in
the court of public opinion. You're absolutely right.
You're right.
But
I'm not.
So something happened today. Okay. We've had all weekend to look at this shit and talk about this shit before we came in here. Literally right before I hit record, Ric Flair released a statement. And I'm gonna read that statement for you and for our audience. And I know that, gentlemen, this is gonna be the first time that you've heard this.
But on purpose.
Yes, on purpose. So I'm gonna read the entire statement, and then we're gonna discuss the insides of this here, and the fallout that's been associated with this episode. So Ric Flair's statement: every person that I've worked with has said not to post a response. But I've never run from the past behaviors before, and I'm certainly not going to start now. I want to clarify a few things. About 4 years ago, I gave ESPN full access to my life for a 30 for 30 special. They covered taxes, financial issues, adultery, divorces, the passing of my child, and drinking, partying at length. Rory Kampf, despite it to matter for another 15 minutes, did an interview about it this morning. When Rory's lips are moving, he's typically lying. But one part of what he said was the God's honest truth. I'd never heard that he had forced someone to touch his genitals, Karpf admitted. Everything with Rick that was construed as negative, I tried to address in the 30 for 30. His drinking, his philandering, his adultery, his money problems, and there's quite a bit. But never, at least in the people that I spoke to, no one ever brought up that he would force himself on somebody. I allowed my personal life, and now that was a quote from Rory Kampf. Okay, Flair continues with, I allowed my personal life and the lives of my wife and children to be turned upside down for one reason. Whether it's good or bad, even the really bad, the truth has to matter, even in wrestling. My issues have been well documented over my 40-plus year career. The impact of drinking too much, which nearly killed me 5 years ago, has been told time and time again. The reason Rory, or anyone else for that matter, never heard stories of me forcing myself on anyone is simple. It's never happened.
I mean, it's a powerful statement, honestly. It seems like that sounds genuine to me, and it sounds like it's from the heart. But you sure as shit better hope that whatever comes out of your Twitter machine is sounding decent, because these are heavy accusations he's going up against.
To back that up a little bit, literally every interviewee of that, other than that one flight attendant, says the same thing. Like, I listened to the Jim Cornette podcast this morning as well, and he said the same thing. I have never once in my life heard of Ric Flair forcing himself on any woman ever, because he didn't have to, right?
Right.
He didn't have to.
He's the Nate.
That was not a like, oh, you're not interested, all right, whatever. Like, there's 60 other chicks that are. It was never. That was one of the. Now, Jim was not on that flight. He was not. He admitted it, and through that whole podcast, they talked about, like, look, this is a serious accusation, and this is terrible. Like, if this is how this woman felt, and this is what she thought, like I am not here to dismiss that. That is not where we are with this, and that's not where I am either. I am not here to dismiss what this woman felt about this. If she feels that way about that, if that's her story,
well, she did, because she got a lawsuit settlement out of it, man. I mean,
to point it at, I mean, the lawsuit was not specific, because the Scott Hall lick thing is a big, like, that's. God,
yeah, but Scott Hall got fired for that.
He did. He absolutely did. We're in a complete agreement here. Like, we're not.
There's also a little bit of an accusation as to whether or not Vince and Linda were on the flight, which Jonathan Coachman brought up earlier today, or maybe yesterday, that
there was no secret that they weren't.
They were 100% on the flight.
Yeah, they were. It's documented that they were on the flight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. I did my research today, but Coachman, he tried to make it a point that they were not. Neither of them were.
Coach wasn't even there, and he hates the WWE. So what's he towing the company?
Also, I don't know why he would be doing this, but he is. I'm just trying to bring up what's relevant, fellas. The fuck you want from me?
Coach was on other flights that were similar, but not quite this flight. And Coach was passed out on Xanax for those flights. That's also been well documented. So it's one of those things where it's hard to be like, there's these other guys. Vice does a good job doing their backlog research and checking things out. However, they're vetting. However, they still have to put a TV program together, right?
Yeah.
So honestly, truthfully, this is where and I brought it up before about Dustin. This is sort of where my criticism. I have no doubt that that's how that flight attendant remembers it, especially because of the way that she laid it out later about her husband, who also really kind of came off shitty. And I don't know if they're still married or what, but he also came out really terrible, like very terrible in my opinion. Is what did you do that provoked this? Was sort of her like what she had said about her husband. Like, what did you do that provoked you, Ric Flair, to get you to touch his penis? Which was massive. Which they also were very like Ric Flair has a massive penis. Like that was the other thing. It was like those things were more explored, I feel like, than anything else. Walt, I can't hear you. Something about a massive penis. Anyway, so anyway, my point being is that this was one very much laid out to be a television show, right? In the same way that the Real World or Road Rules is. So, at what point is this like laid out for dramatics, and at what point is this laid out for sincerity? Now, I absolutely believe this woman, 100%, and I'm not trying to cut this down at all. I think we want to talk about Tommy Dreamer here at some point. He maybe shot himself in the foot or like in the forehead.
Oh, he's done. He's over. Like he's done. Right. I mean, he's a EVP or some shit for Impact. They send his ass home. He's a personality on Busted Open Radio, like 3 times a week. They send his ass packing. Tommy Dreamer's done. Like he's done because of this.
That's
right?
Rough.
And the thing is, man, it's because he's stupid. That's why
I made dumb comments.
It's
really
because
did.
he's stupid, right? And the thing about Tommy Dreamer is, I don't think maybe, like you said, maybe there was some heavy editing here, and I'm sure that there was, but you sign up to do an interview like this, and then somebody asks you about the Ric Flair penis thing, and you're like, oh, it's a gag that the boys do. Yeah, we really get a pop at the curtain. It's like, okay, yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, flipping it around in front of this flight attendant. Oh, that was inappropriate. But you know what else is inappropriate? This double ponytail. That's inappropriate. But, man, whatever. It's like, bro, you're like a big deal in professional wrestling, and like
right?
Whether he wants to, we want to sit here and talk about it or not, he's a prominent name in pro wrestling.
Well, he's Tommy Dreamer.
He's Tommy fucking Dreamer,
right?
And to be so stupid, to just say such stupid, sophomoric, childish things, okay, about an alleged sexual assault is fucking just ridiculous.
I do have comments on this, actually.
Fucking stupid.
Right. Okay. I agree with you on that. My problem, God, he went to that point, right? And I'm sure he didn't know, like, he was probably interviewed, like, think of it as like he's in a box, right?
He interviewed to pop the boys is what he did.
Right. But he had no idea.
And he made himself look stupid.
Right. But he had no idea what this woman had to say, because he was somewhere up in the front, fucking asleep. Nobody messed with Tommy Dreamer. Like, they asked him, hey, you were on this flight, you want to be on this? Like, he's one of like 3 dudes who literally had nothing to do with anything. Kurt Hennig's dead. X-Pac didn't talk. Brock Lesnar didn't talk. Scott Hall didn't talk. Ric Flair didn't talk about this. Like, Ric
Flair wouldn't want to talk about this.
No, he sure.
None of them boys. Nobody that actually did anything of circumstance wanted to speak about it.
Right. So they picked out Tommy Dreamer and Justin Credible and Terry Reynolds, who was up in the front the whole time, and JR, who popped back a few times. I mean, they didn't even ask. I don't know that they didn't even ask Vince McMahon. Not that Vince McMahon would talk about.
He would never do it.
Them to go fuck himself. Okay, but like, listen.
Hold on. I'm not done. Give me a second. So let's go back to Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer he committed the ultimate sin, in my opinion, which is he committed the sin of going, everybody's offended by everything at this point in time. And it's like, oh my God, you fucking went there. Not only did you go there, you pulled it up as like, well, I guess everything offends everybody now. It's like, no, dude, this stuff was offensive then. It's offensive now. And you cannot pull this stuff. Oh, hey, we're going to put this on. This is on Vice TV. Everybody's offended about everything right now. Yeah. Sexual assault is offensive to me, right? Sexual assault is offensive
100%.
to everybody.
Wiener helicopters are not a good look.
touch it is the worst look.
Terrible.
Look, you want to swing it around for guys who've seen it 5 times, whatever. The baby elephant. Okay.
If it's for the boys, whatever.
But he was facing the wrong way.
That's what they were doing. But
he was facing the wrong way, and she was in the galley by herself.
So it's goddamn unfortunate. It's goddamn unfortunate. I have one question, guys, about this whole thing, right? The whole fallout. What does this mean for Ric Flair's legacy?
Probably nothing.
What do you want, immediate or months from now, years from now?
So
immediately, I think there's going to be a little blackout period. There won't be any mention of Rick for a minute. Charlotte will have her name still intact. I know there has been a couple memes about that she'll have it removed, but I don't believe that'll be the case. Maybe the announcers won't say it, but it'll still show up in the bottom feed there.
So as far as Rick is concerned, I agree with Derek. There's a hard pause. His legacy in the ring, probably. I mean, all things will pass, and this may be one of those things that passes. I'm not. I don't know. I feel like Rick needs to maybe fall on his sword here. This is one of those things where it's like Ric Flair needs to be like, I'm sorry, I was drunk. I don't remember doing these things. These aren't things that I would normally do. This is not a thing that I condone. And, this is not my way. I'm not this man. I'm not this person. I'm supremely sorry. I know there was a lawsuit and I know we settled. I was not a part of that. I really feel like he just needs to fall on the sword about this, truth be told. And, or just shut up and not say anything and just let it,
Well, Tom, I totally feel you about the fall on the sword thing, man, but I think you kind of touched on it already is with the settlement that's already been put in place is, can he say anything about it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like,
and I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but at the end of the day, man, this lady took settlement money, and here we are sitting here talking about something that may or may not have happened because it was settled out of court, and we'll never know.
And I was thinking about it the other day. Is it like 17 years?
2003. So yeah, 18
years. 18 years. Yeah. Okay, so that's not a nice round even number that you would probably expect to be in a settlement as far as the lawsuit goes. You think it'd be 20, 15, something in the 0 to 5 range, not a random 18 years. So it's obvious that she could have spoke about it previously and just chose not to because she was hoping that some sort of payday might come around. I'm not saying she was malicious in her thinking. I'm just saying that it's just something. Shoot one.
At the end of the day, pal, like, you could be right, I could be right, he could be right, she could be right. We don't know because this wasn't handled. There was not a guilty or innocent verdict, and that's kind of just how the world is, right?
So hard
it would
pause.
Be handled much differently today. That's for sure.
Yes. Thank you. I think hard pause because I think the time frame in which this took place is really the crux of the issue here. Is that, like, it took place sort of at a time frame where, there was God, man, the 90s and the early 2000s. What a weird time, right?
Yeah.
Where, like, all of this stuff mattered to us, but it was all very like we were children.
Everything was fluid.
It was fluid. It mattered to our parents until it went away and they got the next newspaper, right? And then it was gone. They forgot. They totally forgot. It was to us one of those things where it was like we had no say. We
were only freshmen.
We were only freshmen. Thank you. We were children, right? So to us, it was like, this is something that stuck with. Clearly, this stuck with us, right? Like we remember this. We remember hearing about this. We had discussions with our friends about this because this was a big ass scandal on things that we liked a lot, professional wrestling, about people that we liked a lot, Ric Flair, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Hennig, all these guys who we idolized. We fucking love these guys, right? And our parents didn't give a shit, and they were the ones in charge,
Right?
And, not our parents in particular. Our parents are lovely people. Just the fucking salt of the earth, best people ever. But in general, their generation sucked. Our parents, we just happened to be lucky and have the best ones, right? The three of us.
Yep.
And so at this point in time, it's just one of those things where it's like, should this have been pushed harder? Yeah. At the time, yeah. Oh my God. Should it ever? Absolutely. 100%. However, was it? No, it was not. What's the fallout from this, right? What's the what's the long term of it? Does this one incident, disevaluate Ric Flair ever? Is Ric Flair done? Is Dustin
held responsible?
All I'm saying, guys, is Ric Flair's his new TV commercial's been pulled. All of his merchandise on WWE Shop has been pulled. So Tommy Dreamer has been
actually
from Impact. Tommy Dreamer has been suspended from fucking Busted Open Radio. We've been on this fucking topic for 48 minutes. Can we please move on?
We have more topics?
Yeah, right,
we have three more topics.
Hurry the fuck up.
Let's go. Oh, he's going to come punch you. Not being far away.
Okay.
Come on, then.
Okay.
I'll smoke a cigarette. I ain't got all night. I'll put myself out of the fucking thing again.
You've had all the pullouts.
Yeah, except for the one that mattered. Badoom.
Nah, man, she's perfect.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. All right, so Andrew Yang's at it again, guys.
I forgot about
that.
Man,
he's a disruptor.
Man, we had talked about this a couple of months ago, right around presidential election time. Let's just go ahead here. My man has come out and he says, had a call with the Labor Department. If you're a current or former WWE performer who feels misclassified as an independent contractor, contact, and let's get you what Vince owes you. Been a long time coming, but this storyline is real. Tom, this one's right up your alley, right? Like, I mean, I went to town on this one about, the whole thing with Twitch and all that fun stuff. But
so there's been a line that's been crossed, I think, at some point recently, especially with Twitch and all of that.
Cost of Adam Cole.
Absolutely. 100%.
Well, now bad creative cost him Adam Cole, but
well, that's it. I mean, there were many.
Even though Mr. Cole defended WWE in his most recent interview, I had never heard those plans that they wanted me to be a manager. That's silly.
He's a nice guy.
Look, what a guy, right? What a good guy. So Adam Cole. But yeah, no. Look, this is a thing that's been coming, and Vince has always had friends in politics. Good Lord. The previous president had taken a stunner on television and shaved Vince McMahon.
We always got to go to the politics. Come on now.
I mean, this is as political as it gets, pal.
Right? I mean, Trump took a stunner. Did Trump not take?
Trump took a stunner.
I've shared this like this. He took the word. Look, Trump sold it worse than anybody ever did.
I just don't even want to give Trump news.
Nah, Trump took the worst stunner. Look, fuck Trump. Okay, I'm sorry, but he took the worst stunner anybody ever took.
It's like talking about Joey Janela.
It really is.
Fucking bullshit.
It's that low. It really is that low. You're right.
So the big thing is though, man.
Thanks, Walt.
Is he going to be able to make this stick? Is he going to be able to make this happen? Like,
No.
Do you think that there's any legs to this quote unquote class action lawsuit that's going to happen?
No.
No. He's coming across in his Twitter feed like a fucking a
Mark.
small town on Channel 5 on the 6 o'clock news, saying if you've been in a wreck recently, or if you have
mesothelioma,
yeah, like. No.
I really felt that way too.
Like that.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. But listen, man, like
it's not gonna happen. Look, would I love for it to happen? Yes. Is it gonna happen?
There's nothing there.
I think because if it,
I disagree that there's nothing there. There's plenty there, but I do think that the WWE has better lawyers than the.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not in the DOL. Look. I've had plenty of conversations with the DOL. It's part of what I do in my daily life.
Well,
they're not sending their best and brightest. Let me just put it that way.
Well, I'll tell you this: is Vince isn't going to lose money. That would be my take from it. There's no chance.
Look,
he'll cut the catering. He'll cut the travel. Nope.
Look. The best thing, the thing that might happen is Vince might have to give up that Twitch thing. That's the worst thing that could happen to Vince McMahon is that they'll be like, look,
you can't use your gimmick name.
You gotta let
if you want to use your real name,
you gotta let these people Twitch, and he'll be like,
what the hell's a Twitch, pal?
All right, whatever.
I was against it, but I don't know what it is.
That'll be that's.
Is it like the instant messenger?
That's the worst case scenario that comes out of this, and it's like, at that point you'll be like, we claim victory, and it'll be like, okay,
but
all right,
you could have just went worth for Penny Con.
Yay, Paige, you get to keep your Twitch.
Oh, fuck Paige.
That's it.
She's worthless.
No,
oh,
come on.
Okay. For what?
Oh, come on.
Hey, pal. I mean, all I'm saying is she's sucking up a downside guarantee, and we're cutting main event talent fucking left and right. So
doesn't matter to me. I'm not buying stock in the show. When's the last time I watched Raw?
I should have bought stock.
Listen, this is gonna be great. Okay. No, if he's successful, like, and maybe the talent will get a little bit more freedom, and maybe the strings will come off of WWE a little bit, and they won't be so tight. But I doubt it. I doubt it.
We'll let him Twitch. Up, then down. That's it.
So speaking of
YouTube,
speaking of twitching and YouTube, and being allowed to do whatever the hell you want, AEW is currently beating WWE in ticket sales for a venue. I believe it's in New York, if I'm not mistaken.
It certainly is.
It is Long Island.
The UBS Arena there in Long Island, New York. Oh no!
Back-to-back weekends.
Baby,
it's quite the differential there.
Yeah, it's the seating chart that was released from whoever I saw it from was the most compelling piece of information on this, because it was very visual and very quick to say, "Oh, that's not good."
It was very visceral, and it was visceral into the ball.
It definitely made its point known whenever 3/4 of the WWE arena was still open for sale. Would you like front row seats? I can get them for you.
I mean,
it's
to be
Sunday,
fair,
but I got you.
To be fair, it is a Monday Night Raw.
Raw's a bad show.
I mean,
I don't want to go to Raw.
The Bloodline's on Raw right now, and we're recording a podcast
at this exact moment. Actually.
So, the best thing on WWE TV is currently on Monday Night Raw, and we're recording a podcast. So, Monday Night Raw is a really, really bad show, and I don't want to take away
I'll watch it tomorrow.
I don't want to take away the fact that the AEW product is on fire right now, and that their ticket sales should absolutely be eclipsing WWE Monday Night Raw, because they certainly are eclipsing them in the ratings each and every week.
Well, it's a better show. I mean, we went. Look,
it is a better show.
Look, I've been to Raw. I've been to so many Raws.
Derek and I went to Raw.
I've been to a SmackDown. I've been to like 10 Raws.
He threw up on himself, but we were there.
I mean, it sounds like he had a good time, but
he had a way better time at the AEW show. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, like, you go to AEW show, man, you're invested in what's happening. You go to a WWE show, and maybe they get lucky, and then otherwise, it's like.
So the difference is that, like, it feels like in a WWE show that you're, especially like a live show, is that you're watching. It feels like you're watching something that you don't really know what's happening. You really kind of need to rewatch it on TV.
True.
After you've been there, because you're like, yeah, I'm not real sure what I just saw, but like I just saw some matches, and I have no idea what commentary said. I heard some muffled, I heard some muffled promos because I'm in too big of an arena, and it's not great, and it's been that way for a long time. Like, God, when did WWE buy WCW and
2001.
2001. It's been that way it's been that way since then, and yeah, man, it's a hard show to watch. It really is, especially live. It's easier to watch like after the fact once it's edited down and on television. And I feel like that's always sort of been the strength of WWE. And I mean, that was the strength of WCW as well. But like AEW really has that live atmosphere nailed down.
Best wrestling show I've ever been to, hands down.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like it's nailed down, right? Like you get there and like you've got Justin Roberts who like, oh, we're at commercial, but now I'm going to tell you.
Justin Roberts is great.
Hey, and speaking of, if you guys want to check us out, on our trip to Dynamite in Pittsburgh, you can just click on the old YouTube there and scroll down a couple pegs.
But like, I mean, it was like not like they didn't leave us out. Like we bought a ticket, and like it was like, hey guys, this is what's happening. Hey, look at that sign over there. Look at that sign over there.
As a fan of an AEW show, like you almost feel like a part of the show, right? As to where at a WWE show, you're like a prop,
like a bystander.
You're just watching, right?
You're an extra.
Yeah.
You're. It's like
watching. I mean, Tony Khan came out at one point, talked to us.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
That wasn't aired on television. Like, we saw that.
Tony TK came out and talked to us twice.
That's true.
Right, but like that's not a thing that we saw on TV. Like we were
not on television. We've only seen that coat a million times because we are ridiculous and follow them on Twitter and Facebook.
We're marks. And it's just,
so here's my question, guys. Right about this. I mean, I don't think from the live fan perspective that this is any real big revelation, right? That AEW shows are just a lot better to be in person.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
Do you think that this has the attention of Vince McMahon saying AEW is not direct competition? This is the most direct comparison that any one human being can get, and if you can look at this and say, nah, man, that's not competition, then you're fucking crazy, because this is very telling. And do you think maybe WWE gets a little bit of a wake-up call with something that is so direct?
I think they're awake. Truth be told, I really do feel like that's especially in the live show aspect. God, there's just no comparison, right? It's not even. It's like not only is it a great live show, like you can watch it on TV, and that's a good show too. And it's not that it's like I can't say right now that I would watch AEW Dynamite and be like, well, that was a worse show than like Raw's a worse show.
Raw's terrible. Big ups to Big E, by the way. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it because it's on Monday Night Raw, but congrats to that guy too.
I did. I watched the whole thing. I watched the match beforehand. I watched start to finish. Gotta love Big E. It's just a matter of like, the rest. There were 2 hours and 45 minutes of other bullshit going on Raw that were worth
Didn't
watching.
matter.
No, exactly, and it's a matter of like with AEW. Like I watched all of Dynamite. I watched all of. To be fair, I watched all of NXT too. I was interested. I was in it. After the fact, Dynamite too, and then I watched SmackDown. SmackDown's good.
Yeah, always is. Solid show.
But like WWE has 3 hours of television on Monday that feels like throwaway. And I did not watch Rampage this week. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. Didn't get around to it.
I have no idea, but maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I can't criticize, or I didn't watch it. Not a second. But at the same time, it's like one of those things where it's just like, man, it really feels like AEW has the upper hand at this moment, and like if WWE
because they absolutely do.
If WWE doesn't do something to the effect of like, well, now we have to start doing something that's not just sit on our laurels and do nothing. It's going to be the primary wrestling that like Dynamite's going to get 3 million viewers a week, and Rampage is going to get 1.5 million viewers a week, and then the WWE audience is going to dwindle. Like SmackDown might be fine; it'll probably get like 2 million viewers a week.
I mean, it's that their audience, SmackDown audience, continues to grow week over week too.
It's a good show,
and I don't see it dwindling until they actually go head to head. At this point, they're not actually head to head in any sort of way, so they're not actually pulling any sort of audience from one show to the other. So there shouldn't be any sort of it's just actually spaced out nicely for the wrestling fans.
I'll be interested.
I mean, you've got 5 days a week of wrestling if you count Impact, WWE, and AEW.
Impact is,
man, I watch it. I mean, not religiously.
Derek's getting into it a little bit.
They got 20 minutes.
They got stuff going on. It's not terrible.
They got 20 minutes of show.
So I mean, Derek, man, this is like what this is dream scenario for you, right? AEW beating WWE in both ratings on Wednesday to Monday and ticket sales, huh? This is bullshit you've been trying to talk all along.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't want to lose sight of what we're actually trying to do here and actually have a great show. And I think a lot of to be honest with you, WWE over the years, it's been the same product, even though obviously what they show on TV is different because the production values are so slick. It's just, they're so smooth with everything. And I know that's weird to say. And I'm sure a lot of us can agree with this, though, that you don't see any mistakes. It just comes across as not raw. And AEW is a little different with that. I know in the beginning it was really terrible, and the production values have increasingly grown better. But
it's terrible.
There's
being
still,
too kind, pal.
Yeah, man, it was rough. I know. We watched the first pay-per-view.
That first pay-per-view was phenomenal, man. It was the shit that they let off.
The camera cuts, and then whenever you go to commercial in the middle of a promo, they would do the side-by-side thing and the TV. It was terrible.
Listen, dude, there's no doubt in anybody's mind, pal, that AEW has put the fucking pieces together and they're doing the damn thing. Okay, I'm not gonna sit there and I'm not gonna let you gush over AEW. Okay, because I'm gonna put the fucking shit to bed. All right. Okay, congratulations. Okay, you've converted me enough that I'm sitting here fucking. I'm starting to see the light.
We'll gush about it then. Good.
I'm not gonna gush about it. That's what you're gonna get. They still got a fucking long way to go. Still got a long way to go. Okay. But I will say this. AEW Dynamite is my first watch of the week every single week. Gentlemen, match of the week.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay. So match of the week. God, I hate where you left me in that with the AEW Dynamite thing. All right, so I'm gonna get honorable mention some things here. So NXT ending with Tommaso Ciampa holding Goldie as the new NXT champion is probably the thing that made me the happiest this week. That match was good. Notice I didn't say fine. It was good. Was it great? No, it wasn't great. It was good. It was good. It was pretty good. Raw was good, or SmackDown was good, start to finish.
Yeah.
Raw was boring, as per usual. But I'm going to give you my match of the week, which was Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian. Good. I love Adam Cole. God,
it was a great match.
It was everything that it needed to be. One, Frankie Kazarian is a veteran star. Like, God, the man just oozes. He's everything that you want in Frankie Kazarian, right?
Fantastic match.
He's everything you want in Kaz. And Adam Cole is Adam Cole, baby. Boom. And man, God, was it good. Not only did Kaz look good, Adam Cole looked great. That was the best match I've seen on Dynamite ever. Maybe I'm hard. I'm hard pressed to come up with a better Dynamite match. Holy crap, was it good? Adam Cole is, to this day, my favorite wrestlers are like Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Tommaso Ciampa, and that's the short list. And yeah, that's it. It was great. It was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
It was the best match of the week. Disagreeing with me on that is wrong. It was the best one. Period.
You're not going to get any disagreement from me, pal, that it was fantastic.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you, Tom. I mean, not to say that it was not an honorable mention. It was a great match. But what I had going in this week was actually Dante Martin and what's his name? Matt Sydal versus FTR.
You mean Evan Bourne?
No, Matt Sydal.
It was good. That was a good match.
Who's that? Who's?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Since we saw Dante Martin live, actually, he's kind of been on my radar as far as someone to look out for. That was a hell of a match he put on. He was exciting to watch. I'm not going to say it was the most clean or the most pretty thing you'll ever see. It wasn't a banger classic like Tom had up his sleeve there, but
I can go first. That's why I can go first.
It was still a good match. I was very, very happy with it.
Great. Good night, Derek.
Yep. Thanks, guys. That was great.
Walt.
Gentlemen, I'm going to end the show the same way that I started the show. And I'm going to say that my match of the week was the Fatal 4-Way on NXT. Not because the match was good. The match was...
I mean, it was good.
It was a match.
It was good. I liked it. I popped a few times.
But the fact that NXT and the WWE gave the fans something that they wanted in Tommaso Ciampa raising Goldie once again has given me new hope.
I mean, I want it.
It has given me hope for a better future. It has given me hope for a better WWE. And it has given me hope for NXT 2.0, which I'm sure on Tuesday we'll get just shit all over. And yeah,
it's good to have hope.
But
yeah, I have no.
I am so happy that Tommaso Ciampa is the NXT World Champion. And that's really what it comes down to. So, why is it every time I try to go home?
We just wanted to leave. I just wanted to go home.
It disappears.
I don't know. Well, okay, bye. One Fall WrestleCast.
I mean, he's coming back. You can follow us over on social media, both Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. With all that being said, Thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.